Fhs Season Tickets.
Welcome back to another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Nick.
And I'm Michael. And
today we're just going to be talking to, can you explain who this is?
Yeah, Chris Axmann of AlmightyBaller.com.
Yeah.
He runs the Almighty Baller podcast. Would you like to introduce yourself?
That's me, Chris Axmann. You can follow me at Almighty Ballin on Twitter and check out the Almighty Baller Podcast Network on either Blog Talk Radio /ABPN. We're a featured network at Blog Talk Radio, and you can find that and written content at almightyballer.com.
Okay, and we're going to get into it. First things first, we're going to start off about the NBA action. Last night, starting off the first game, Cavs destroying the Knicks. Nick, what were your first thoughts about the Knicks? We have different opinions about them.
Yeah, okay, so in the beginning I was watching it along with the World Series, but I was first watching the Knicks, and they looked like, especially their starting five, I know that you can't have them be the sole, of your team, you need a good bench, but whenever their starting five was in, Joakim Noah is great at just being scrappy all around, getting those rebounds, getting those extra possessions. I feel like him and Kristaps will work really well together. I feel like they can vibe off each other, similar to what Al Horford and Joakim did in Florida. That's kind of like a microscope. But those two, Carmelo, just being the offensive scorer that he usually is, he got their first 12 of 18 points. Derrick Rose, he looked back. He doesn't obviously look like the MVP form of himself, but he doesn't look as bad as he did right off the injury. I'm just thinking that this is a chemistry issue, similar to what happened a couple of years ago in the opener when the Cavs lost to the Knicks on the return from LeBron. Just the chemistry issues there. Clearly a better team. The Cavs were more talented, but just the opening day with new players, especially two new starters, I think that the Knicks are a lot better than what the score shows. And just being at half, it was 45-48. Knicks were down 3. I think that just shows that this team, way more talented than people are giving them credit for. I do believe that they're going to make the playoffs, maybe at a 7th seed. And Mike, what do you think?
I don't like this Knicks team very much. I don't think Kristaps is getting enough touches that he does. He should be getting as a young player. I don't think all these pieces are going to work together. I just don't like this Knicks team. I took the under of their win total. I believe it was 40.5 or 39.5. So I don't think they're going to work together. Chris, do you think the Knicks are going to make the playoffs? And how do you see them working out throughout the year?
No, my expectation is that it all will work out. It all won't fall into place. I understand why there's a really wide range of opinions on the Knicks, because I do think that there's, a galaxy far, far away where everything falls into place for this Knicks team and everything looks great. And Carmelo, Carmelo is a little bit older than LeBron, but Melo's kind of still in his prime. I could see it working out. I just don't expect it to work out. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't have anything against people who do think it will work out, and I understand. Kristaps is great. Joakim Noah, like Mike was saying, Mike, right?
No, that was Nick.
Nick. I guess my headphones. But anyways, like Nick was saying, Joakim Noah, if he can be like Joakim Noah was in the past, it was only a couple of years ago when he was 4th in MVP voting and he was the Defensive Player of the Year. So I understand both of you guys. I get where you're coming from, but I would lean a little bit towards the Knicks not being so great.
It's interesting. And now the next thing we're going to talk about, the big thing that happened last night, Golden State losing by 29 at home. Nick, what was your first reactions to this?
Well, really just, again, the shots weren't falling, but that will happen. That will happen in the playoffs for Golden State. I think the Spurs were able to exploit their lack of really an inside presence anymore now with the departure of Andrew Bogut, which I think was a real, people weren't talking about that move as much as they should have. I think that's really going to hurt the Warriors. But anyways, the Spurs able to exploit Zaza Pachulia, the starting center for the Warriors. I know it's hard to think about when you have KD, Clay, Draymond, and Steph, and then Zaza Pachulia. But anyways, I think that the Spurs, just Popovich, he had a whole summer to really just plan for this game. He wants to make a statement. Kawhi getting his career high in points, which is good for him. Gilchrist going to be the defensive presence. Shots weren't falling for the Warriors as much as they expected, but I do see the danger of this team. It was just nuts seeing sometimes how open Durant can be now with this team. It's just crazy to think about. If Klay's hitting his shots, which he wasn't, Durant was hitting his shots, but it's just nuts. This team, I don't think this is a real bearing on what's going to happen this season. I do think that they're going to do really well, and it's going to be more of a playoff team. But it does show their one Achilles heel, which is their inside presence being almost absolute obsolete. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, you mentioned Zaza Pachulia, and they lost Andrew Bogut, so they kind of traded centers with Dallas. Chris, I know he knows all about Dallas, so he'll have, I'm sure, an extensive report on Zaza and also Bogut. But the Warriors gave up 1.3 points per possession against the Spurs. That's not going to cut it, even if their offense is playing at a normal level. That's horrible defense, and the Spurs really just outclassed them in the opener. And the inside presence, San Antonio was able to dominate down low. They finished at the rim almost every 2 years.
Good.
What are your thoughts about the Warriors and also about the two centers, how they switched with the Mavericks?
Yeah, no, I think you guys are pretty much spot on in terms of the replacing Zaza with Andrew Bogut. Like you guys mentioned, I'm from Dallas, so I got to see Zaza come out of the gates and do really, really well. I'm not sure if you guys remember, he was a couple thousand votes away from being voted an All-Star, which is partially because he had such a great first half of the season and partially because he's from Georgia and everyone in the country of Georgia decided to go out and vote. So he was really, really good in the first 40 games. And then after that 40-game period, he just sort of fell off the map. And a lot of this Warriors' success, I think, is going to depend on which version of Zaza they get. If they plan on putting Zaza out there for 30 minutes a game for 82 minutes, if that's what they need and that's what they're depending on for this team to be successful, I think they're going to be disappointed. If they can get Zaza in 60 games, 20 minutes in a role like that, it should be fine. But Zaza's getting a little bit older, and I mean, he had his best season ever at the age of 32, and you gotta keep that in mind when you're implementing a guy like that. So I'm a little bit concerned about the Warriors' rim protection, and as far as just the game last night, you guys hit on the biggest thing, which is the Spurs were hitting their shots and the Warriors weren't, and that is kind of how it goes sometimes. That's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So, the Spurs went in with a good strategy to beat the Warriors, and they did. But still, I just think talent, the Warriors are a lot better, and on most nights they'll win.
I mean, I do agree with your points for sure. I do think, though, the point about the All-Star, I feel like that could some players just have those fluke first half of the seasons. I remember in 2013, Anderson Varejao was close. I think he would have made it if he didn't get injured.
The foreign players, typically have.
And he also was having a nice year, or first half of the year. Then he gets injured. I think it was the heart or whatever. Varejao always has those problems, but now he's riding the bench at the end of the Warriors bench. So I don't know. I feel like the fluke first half was relevant there. Zaza, I feel like he's just going to stay Zaza Pachulia. I don't think he's going to be the president. If that's what the Warriors are depending on, I do think that they're going to suffer for sure.
Yeah. So, and then the question is, over the offseason, I really like the pickup of JaVale McGee. I think it's a good roll of the dice. Yeah. It's a good gamble, but it is a gamble. And if I was the Warriors, I would have invested a few more roster spots in maybe a guy like Larry Sanders.
Does he want to come back?
I'm sorry?
Does Sanders want to come back? Or is he back already?
I think he's seeing I'm not sure if I would have gone with Larry Sanders himself. That he's an interesting case, but
I know.
I think he saw some of the contracts they signed last year and was like, "Wait, Timofey Mozgov got $16 million a year." For 4 years.
My God!
Yeah,
and then he's bartering for more. That's funny.
Yeah. So I think that's what's going on with him. But I just
Larry,
guys. Yeah, I just mean more guys like that, more rim protectors, and you have 82 games.
I like that Larry Sanders thing. I don't know about that money, but no, I agree with you on those points.
It's a maybe thing, and if it doesn't, waive him and you try someone else. Yeah, so McGee, that's what I would have done if I was the Warriors. I would have, used a few more roster spots on some roll of the dice guys who might end up being able to be that rim protector for you, because that's really all the Warriors are missing at this point.
Yeah, McGee's extremely athletic. I saw that they were on his roster actually last night. I didn't even know that. And, he did get posterized. But I think McGee could be that if he gets his head on straight. He's all the athletic tools to do that. But
yeah, the Warriors had an interesting first-round draft selection of Damian Jones. He's my boy from Vanderbilt, huge Vanderbilt fan. But he's not going to be what the Warriors need. He's not a great rim protector.
Yeah.
Luke Cornett averaged 3 blocks a game for Vandy, while Damian Jones barely went over 1. He's a solid low-post scorer, but he doesn't provide much spacing at all on the court.
There's some questionable moves to the center spots.
Yeah, and Vandy was very frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Work Damian into the offense. I'm not sure how much of that can be credited to Wade Baldwin or Kevin Stallings and how much it can be to Damian. But I don't think he really fits in with the Warriors. I think he could have been used at another team that kind of needs more scoring.
Yeah.
But Chris mentioned that. Oh, you can go.
I think the Warriors want to be a dynasty, though. I think that they're trying to pick high upside guys so that, maybe 7 years down the line when Durant, Steph Curry, as dominant forces as they are right now, they want to, have young guys that they're bringing up through the system. So they'll still be a 60-win team by then. I understand that and I get it, but I think we're all on the same page here in terms of it would have been nice to see a couple more guys like JaVale McGee, who's also from Dallas. He played for Dallas last year. And I honestly, I think that JaVale McGee's a good pickup, and I think he'll work out. But he's such an idiot. You have to have a couple more cracks at the ball, so to speak. You need a couple more times or a couple more guys out there who so that you're not putting too much of your winning on JaVale McGee's shoulder because he's kind of a doofus.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely need more backup insurance. Not sure that Zaza provides that, but you got anything else to?
Yeah. So Chris mentioned that the Spurs made shots and the Warriors didn't. Another game where one team made shot, another team didn't, was Portland versus Utah. And I have to say, applaud to the NBA getting some great matchups on opening night, similar to what college football did with their opening weekend. They had some great conference matchups. NBA putting 2 of the up-and-coming teams in the Western Conference against each other. And Utah seemed to outplay Portland, but Portland made 65% of their open shots compared to Utah at around 36%. That was the difference of the game. Chris, do you think that Utah is better than Portland despite what we saw Portland coming out with the win?
Well, so I had a couple of guys over, including one of my frequent co-hosts, Michael Luxembourg. I had him over last night, and we were watching all of these NBA opener games. And one of the first things I said as the Jazz were, starting to take shots, I was, of course, watching their new addition at point guard, George Hill. But one of the first things I said is, this is a team now that have the pieces to run a good offense. And if they don't have a good offense this year, then I've been suspicious about this. I'm not sure Quinn Snyder's a very good coach. And I mean that specifically on offense. So when you have a guy like Rudy Gobert, you're going to have a great defense. So you don't need a defensive-minded coach per se. But if Quinn Snyder can't run a fluid, effective offense with this Utah Jazz roster, then he's had excuses in the past, but this year he's got to show it. Honestly, if you ask me. So I think talent-wise, it's hard for me to argue that the Jazz aren't better than the Trailblazers, but I think the Blazers might have a better record just because Terry Stotts is a wizard.
I would disagree with your point about Quinn Snyder. I mean, I think that the defensive-minded coach is what Rudy Gobert needed. He was a rookie, 3 years ago. I think they really needed someone to develop him into the defensive presence he is now. I think you see a bunch of those European projects that don't exactly pan out. I think that he would have been in danger of not doing it. I think he's going to flourish as a defensive player. He's going to stay in the league a long time because of that. I think Quinn Snyder, being the defensive-minded coach he is, really you can attribute a lot to that. And I think they just have to work out their offense from there. The Jazz can't outscore anyone with the people on their roster, I don't feel like. I think they just really need to play a team cohesive game, play hard defense, and more just play to their strengths, which I think is the defense, and I think that's why they hired Quinn Snyder. It's also a bunch of young guys, so I think that he can I think that he can grow their defense, which is going to be the strength of their team, better than having, per se, like an offensive-minded coach, maybe like a Mike D'Antonio. I'm not putting words in your mouth of who you would have picked for the offense, but someone like that I don't think would have worked out with this Utah Jazz team.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, I think they need to run. I think Mike D'Antoni should go to Utah and run Rudy Gobert as the point guard. That's what they need.
Similar,
but no,
Harden or Rudy Gobert. Similar playing styles. I would agree.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that was a really great point as far as Rudy Gobert coming in as a foreign player, second round pick. But that's a retroactive thing. That's in the past, right? So
yeah.
Now that if we're confident now that Rudy Gobert has developed as a rim protector, then awesome. Quinn Snyder did his job. But now I think it's time to focus on putting a good, effective offense together. Because if you just look at the pieces of this Utah Jazz defensively, the players, I think, don't need that much coaching. Like George Hill was elite on that Indiana team for the past half of a decade, and Rudy Gobert might be Defensive Player of the Year, and Derek Favors is a great switching big who can also protect the rim. So, developmentally, I think that was a great point. But sometimes you see teams, there's coaches who can only take them so far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And perhaps Quinn Snyder has taken the Jazz as far as he can take them, and they might need another voice in the locker room to take the next step.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely agree. Quinn Snyder is not the end game coach. He's not the coach that is going to win you the finals if you're the Utah Jazz. But, Mike, do you got any further comments on this Utah Jazz team?
No, nothing really. I think we all hit the major points. Nick, any questions for Chris right now?
Yeah, I just want your opinions on, since you do cover the Dallas Mavericks, you do live in Dallas, I wanted to see what you think these new additions, Harrison Barnes, Andrew Bogut, I want to know how high you are on them, especially pertaining to how they're going to bring Dirk to these final twilight years of his career. I'm thinking these are really good additions, especially looking at Golden State and how much they suffered without them. I think Bogut and Harrison Barnes do. I thought you were. Mike, I thought he was disagreeing with it. I'm thinking Bogut and Harrison Barnes are way more important. Are gonna make this team way more successful than they would have without them or with the people that they were traded to. I wanted to really get your thoughts on this, Chris.
Oh man, there's something about this Dallas Mavericks team that is dead on the inside. That's what I feel, and that sounds more exaggerated than I want it to, but it just doesn't seem like they have a beating heart. It doesn't seem like it's a combination of guys who I think are going to work really well together. I think they're talented, but I just that intangible feel, that soul just doesn't seem like it's there right now, and I'm concerned about that. But that being said, I think Rick Carlisle could coach a team with a starting Labrador Retriever as their point guard. Coach Rick Carlisle is so amazing; he could easily get Air Bud into the NBA Finals. I expect him. I expect the Mavericks to make the playoffs, but I think it's going to be a challenge. I think there's going to be a lot of teeth grinding. I think that they're going to have to really battle out a lot of weird random games in November and in February where other teams aren't taking them too seriously. Maybe they can come out and surprise, win the games that other teams wouldn't. But I just, they've got a very clear ceiling. Harrison Barnes has been really bad. Yeah. Really, really bad.
That's the X factor, I believe, for this Mavericks team, really.
What do you guys, and yeah, I agree with you. And what do you guys think? I'm interested to see what other people around the NBA think about Harrison Barnes.
Well, considering he went 5 for 20 in wide open 3 shots, I'm not really thinking that in the finals. That is, I'm not really thinking that he's going to be a 3-point threat. But I do think that he has loads of potential. Really, he was either off and on against the Cavs. In 2015, the finals, he did good. Then 2016, he just did really bad. didn't hit those open shots. But I do think that he is the X factor of the Mavericks team. I'm interested to see on where this goes. Mike, I think you have an opinion on this.
I totally disagree with you on this thing. I think Harrison Barnes.
He's an athlete.
I think Harrison Barnes should be given a ring by the Cleveland Cavaliers because he was a major factor. He was a major factor.
Hey, they're handing him out like candy.
Why the Cleveland
No,
Cavaliers
you're totally right.
won the title.
You're right.
And I
think he was arguably the biggest reason why they didn't win.
Him and Draymond, Draymond, keep kicking, man. Keep kicking. I want to see you win us another ring for being out in Game 5. But anyways, I agree with you on the Barnes thing. Complete trash in the finals. But that's not what the Mavericks are looking at. They're not going to look at a finals collapse. Harrison Barnes did do good things in the regular season. He's an athlete. I think that he's going to do well with the Mavericks.
Now we're obviously Cavs fan. I'm not sure if Chris knows that, from Cleveland.
Yeah, we're from
Cleveland. Located.
I see the Indian shirt. That's good.
Yeah. But I don't think Harrison Barnes, if he can't produce with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green stretching the floor
hogging
for
up
him,
all the shots,
what is he gonna do with Darren Williams and
Dirk?
Oh my, Dirk.
He's gonna be a defensive player.
I don't think so. I'm
concerned. I'm legitimately worried, and I think that NBA watchers in Dallas have always chuckled year after year when people are like, "Oh, this is the year that Dallas isn't going to make the playoffs." Like, there's no way they're going to be able to do it. Well, I mean, Chandler Parsons, he missed the whole season.
Oh my God,
they can't do it. Like, I said the whole thing with the Golden Retriever because Rick Carlisle, he was starting at one point. Salah Mejri, right? Who even is that, right? And JJ Barea, Darren Williams was out, so it was JJ Barea, Devin Harris, right? Justin Anderson. And
Justin Anderson is my boy.
He's my boy too.
He's a sleeper coming out of UVA. I think it was
Virginia.
This dude has like a 44-inch vert. Can hit the three.
Oh yeah, no, you guys are. I really believe in Justin Anderson. I've talked with Mark Followell, who is the TV guy for the Mavericks. I've talked to him a lot about Justin Anderson and how he's developing. Rick Carlisle is also a UVA guy. I think that Justin Anderson is going to be an important part of the team for the future. But right now, last year on the starting five of Devin Harris, Raj Roja as starting point guard.
Center.
Center. So I'm measuring. Same thing. And so I'm not sure. And whoever else you guys had, JJ Barea. I don't think he was going to do very well in his rookie year. But again, I don't know. The outlook of the Mavericks, I think Harrison Barnes.
I got it.
Yeah, I think Harrison Barnes could do better than both of you guys are thinking. He's a sleeper
pick. I got
pick.
something to say. So we've kind of been roasting the Boston Celtics recently.
Oh my God.
About their inability to sign free agents that they think they're going to sign.
Yeah.
I heard they're getting Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
This is kind of what the Dallas Mavericks have been doing for about 5 years. I know you've been very vocal about this, Chris. You just tweeted out sad face when it said the Mavs are pursuing DeMarcus Cousins in 2018 free agency.
Oh my God, is it everyone?
I think you know that it's not going to happen, and I don't even want to list the countless players Dallas has been linked with that they ended up not getting, and they always think they're getting something great, and it's like DeAndre Jordan, Andrew Bogut.
Dude, that was sad. That was so DeAndre Jordan. What were your feelings when that whole thing was happening? That was kind of BS in my opinion, and I didn't even care really about what was happening with them because the Clippers, one, will never make a Western Conference Finals, even
not
with
if you skip Bayless, Jordan.
And also, but Dallas, that was rough. What were your opinions on that, real quick? This is just a random question. What did you think when that whole thing was going down from a Dallas Mavericks fan perspective?
So, I was one of the first people who called the whole DeAndre thing in terms of him going to Dallas. I was texting all these people around the clock, I know you think this is BS, but DeAndre, this is the time that he's actually going to come. Chandler Parsons is worked so well in Houston next to Dwight Howard because their pick and roll chemistry was so good, and you can't really get a better pick and roll wing than Chandler Parsons and this and that and the other. And honestly, I think if DeAndre had ended up on the Mavericks, it would have been a top 4 team, maybe even top 3.
Yes.
But I didn't see it coming. I didn't know.
That was so sad. I felt so bad for you guys.
As the news reports were starting to come out, that night that he was locked in.
Locked in the house with Rick Fox.
Houston. Right, yeah, barricaded in with Blake Griffin.
Rick Fox and, what's his name?
I just got to say, what goes around comes around, and he's going to be really sad when Blake Griffin is playing next year in a green jersey in Boston, and CP3 is the starting point guard.
All
for the
right,
Spurs,
I like that.
Ooh, CP3 to the Spurs. That's bold.
Hey, he's a forgotten point guard, I feel like.
Chris Paul, he's done everything except for win.
Yeah.
You see him out there. He wants to win so badly. And with Tony Parker on his way out, I think
I like
it
that.
makes a lot of sense.
I like that unless the Clippers go up against the Spurs in the playoffs, or up 3-1, about to go into the finals, and then about to go into the finals, and
Where
then
have
he
I seen
leaves.
this before?
Man, that would just be upsetting to me. But
so
other
familiar,
than that,
though.
other than that, that would probably be one of the second most weakest move ever in NBA history. But other than that, that would be awesome.
Going to the Spurs, you mean?
CP3 going to the Spurs if the Clippers are up 3-1 in the finals, and then
the semifinals.
In the Western Conference Finals.
The Clippers aren't getting to the Western Conference Finals.
In the West, the Clippers are.
You forgot the Warriors.
Dude, they have so much talent. Wait, hold on. I'm asking it. Real quick, we have 2 minutes here. What do you think is the best conference in the NBA, West or East? This has been heavily debated. I just want to give the L to my co-host. What do you think
West. Easy
Yes,
West.
easily West. Oh my God, we've had so many interviews, so many people saying West. This man in the beginning of the year, like 3 weeks ago, said East, and he was just calling me an idiot for saying West, but no, it's West. I'm sorry, he was just trying to be too progressive.
A couple of years ago, I thought that the East was rising, but I think this offseason, it turned the other direction.
It's West.
It kept going
It's
this offseason.
Dude, you have so many
disagree.
mid-level teams. I've said it before. So many mid-level teams in the East. Just too much talent in the West. But it's been awesome having you on the show, Chris.
I got one final
really
thing.
good debates. Oh, wait, Mike.
I got one final thing. This was something we mentioned before. Do you think the Mavericks should tank, and do you think tanking works? Just real quick.
I think as soon as Dirk Nowitzki is out of a Mavericks uniform, I think that, the nuclear button needs to be pressed.
I don't know if Mark Cuban can handle that. I don't know if Mark Cuban can handle the tanking.
He has too much pride to do it?
I don't know, yeah. It's an interesting topic.
No, I mean, then, I'll buy the Mavericks. More than that.
The Mavericks are so interesting. They have Cuban and Rick Carlisle. You'd never think, the Dallas Mavericks would have, a great coach and a huge owner.
Yeah.
But they do.
That's interesting. All right, it's been great having you on the show again, Chris. We had a really fun time. Really, just anything you want to wrap up, Mike?
No, I'll probably ask you to come back on the show in a couple months later down the NBA year.
All right, sweet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, anytime. I had fun. So just let me know. And, thanks for having me on. Again, Chris Axmann. Check out almightyballer.com and then go to Blog Talk Radio /ABPN. That ABPN standing for Almighty Baller Podcast Network. And, thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one, Chris.
Yep, see ya.
See ya.
All right, awesome, cool.
All right, that's going to end it for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Nick, and Mike is standing behind the camera. It's been great. See ya.